Insofar as the pharma and healthcare sectors are concerned, there are few things that we see in this budget. I'll deal with the clinical trial aspect first. Now, what had happened over last few years was the clinical trial industry was really developing well in India, and under the service tax exemption was allowed insofar as rendering of clinical trial services by the CROs to the pharma companies. There was some fallout in because of the Supreme Court order, and this clinical trial industry really saw difficulty in India because of some of the regulatory changes that came about. Just recently, the drug regulator has come out with various changes and very positive indications that they want to definitely enhance the clinical trial industry in India once again. But what we see in the budget is that the service tax exemption that was allowed for the clinical trial services has now been taken out. So though on the one hand you have regulatory indication that they want to enhance this particular industry in India, but on the other hand you have service tax exemption going away. The other service tax related change that we notice here is basically the relation to the services rendered for treating biomedical waste. So typically what happens is you have hospital and healthcare establishments, they may not have their own facilities for biomedical treating biomedical waste. So you would typically outsource that particular activity. So now the service tax exemption has been allowed for rendering the that particular service for treating biomedical waste. So this is basically the the service tax impact. We do not see much changes in so far as direct taxes are concerned, but again coming back to the indirect taxes, the custom duty for methyl alcohol has been reduced from 7.5% to 5%. Now, the relevance of methyl alcohol again in the pharma industry would be that it is used for the production of the active pharmaceutical ingredients. So, to that extent your manufacturing cost is likely to go down. What we see in this particular budget is there are a lot of incentives for the manufacturing sector, so this appears to be one of them. The other change from the excise and customs duty perspective is the HIV and AIDS drugs and the diagnostics kits. They have been completely exempt from the duty. If you see, there has been a lot of discussion on availability of affordable drugs in India. So this seems to be one of the the steps taken for the HIV and AIDS related drugs and diagnostics kits to be made available at a affordable price. But apart from that, we do not see any much changes in the budget. There was a discussion about insurance being made available to the larger population, etc. Those type of changes we yet not have seen in the budget. The other the other industries we have seen, for example in infrastructure industry or otherwise, there have been lot of proposals and discussion about a PPP, but in the pharma and healthcare sector I don't think there are proposals at least in the current budget or the budget speech where there doesn't appear to be a PPP sort of a arrangement that has been proposed for the healthcare sector, which we believe actually could benefit the the Indian healthcare sector, especially because of the CSR rules that have come out under the Companies Act. So probably that could have been one of the proposals that could have come from the government, but probably that may come during the course of the year. We'll just have to wait and watch.